I believe God has a word for us today in the prophet of Haggai, and over these last 4 weeks, and for those that know that this whole story that for over 70 years the children of Israel had been in captivity in Babylon. And for that, God delivered them from captivity and brought them back to the land of Jerusalem so that they could build the temple. Now let me help you out here, because the temple that was originally in that place was the one Solomon built. And we spent time talking about it. It was a beautiful temple. Anything that could be in the temple, Solomon made sure was there. It was lined with gold. It had gold chains through it. It had flower pots and palm trees in the temple. Because they wanted to glorify God. And then now God had brought them back, and the children of Israel, they're into a place, and they come back and they're looking at the temple, and it laid waste.
Yes, sir. My Lord.
God gave them the timber and gave them all the articles they needed, even give them favor to have enough money to build their temple. But you remember what the people did? They took that money and the wood that God had given them to build the temple to build their own houses.
My Lord.
God was not pleased with that. So we find here in the message, this closing message today, that God had a word now. Before we get to that, I want to give you just a quote that I found that I believe that is very prevalent. So tomorrow is Martin Luther King's birthday. It said the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moment of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. The true neighbor will risk his position, his prestige, and even his life for the welfare of others. Now, how does that tie into what we're going to talk about today? God says to his people, I brought you back home, not for yourselves, but for me.
Yes, sir.
So we have seen in this message, in the very first, you look at verse 10, which is going to be the capstone of this. It says, for in the 4th and the 20th day of the 9th month, in the 2nd year of Darius, came the word of the Lord to Haggai the prophet, saying. Now, why is that important? Let me give you just a brief history to help you where I'm at. We have seen in each of these messages that Haggai was moved by God to write to the children of God about turning from their own desires to rebuilding the temple. You know what they were doing. They were building, it had paneled housing. They weren't building just a house to stay in. They were building some luxurious homes with the things that God had given them. So that first message was spoken in the 6th month, which is corresponding to August 29, 520 BC. Then the second message came at the 7th month, which is our October the 17th of 520 BC. And this final message, which I will attempt to preach today, took place on the 9th month of Chisholm in the Hebrew language, which is corresponding to our December the 18th of 520 BC. Now, why is this important? You say, Pastor White, why do all of these dates mean anything? In the 6th month, they started. That's when he commanded, and he said, I'm bringing judgment on you because I brought you back here to build my temple, but